Hey guys, welcome back to Ranger Survival and Fieldcraft. I'm Andrew, and what I have for you today are 10 very simple military survival preps, or things we can do with our kit to make our lives a lot easier. And that first one we're going to do is going to involve our helmet, but also our strobe. Now, with our military strobe here, what we can do is purchase some Velcro tape. In the military, we call it hook and pile tape because a jump master always uses proper nomenclature. But Velcro tape, and what we've done here is just grab the tape, cut out the hook or the plastic portion, and put that sticky side down on the flat surface behind or on the reverse side of our strobe so we can still activate the actual strobe itself. Next, all we need is our helmet or something with the rest of the Velcro adhesive surface that we can use to attach our strobe. All right, so here we have our helmet. Here is the pile tape, or the soft, fluffy side of the Velcro, and we have the hook tape on our strobe. All we have to do, this is the reverse of the back side of our helmet. We can just take it, attach this, even pull these elastic bands up over top and cross them if we so choose. And now we have our signal on the back of our helmet, so we can wear our helmet, move with this signal. Search and rescue can see it, or friendly forces, whatever, and it still works. We can remove the IR cover to demonstrate its functionality here, and then simply activate the strobe, and you'll see that the strobe is actually blinking and lit, and now we have that signal that goes right on our helmet. So that's a very simple one we can do with just hook and pile tape or Velcro, attaching it to the surface of some object that we have with us, our helmet or our backpack, and turn it into a passive signal at nighttime. Now, one thing we could definitely do that will cross over into not only a military medical aid kit, but definitely a civilian side, is something with our bandages to make them 10 times easier to get into and that much faster to actually apply to a casualty who's going to need medical treatment, especially for bleeding or serious injuries. And to do that, all we need the bandages themselves and then some of our tape. Now, I picked up this little technique when I was in Iraq. I was in Iraq right before the surge, and then during the surge and after the surge, stationed in Al Anbar province at Al Assad. And we did a lot of convoys and missions out there. We had frequent wounds and injuries because of the IEDs, as well as direct fire contact. But this was a technique I picked up from one of our medics. Now, we have this little pull tab here. Super hard to get into, especially if we're wearing gloves, especially if our hands are covered in blood, or the bandage itself, the outer coating of this packaging is covered in blood, and everything is super slippy, and we just can't actually open this. We can do the old tried and true pop technique to actually open this. So a technique that I picked up, grab some of our tape. We take just a good section of that tape. We find one side of the pull on the back of the bandage casing here, and we simply create our own tab. All right, so we create one tab here, and then grab some more tape, and on the other side where we open the package, we create just another tab. What this gives us is two actual hand tabs here that we can use to get a good grip on with our fingers and our thumbs, just like this, and actually open that instead of using the tips of our fingers and our thumbs to try to open this bandage. We can actually grab these even while our hands are covered in blood or we have gloves on, and simply rip open that bandage to grab and then apply to a wound or pack into a wound to stop bleeding. So a very easy, simple military prep survival hack that will definitely go a long ways in any medical kit, military, civilian, or otherwise, that we can use to get a package open quickly, prep it ahead of time, and then get to that bandage fast so we can treat a casualty, stop that bleeding, and potentially save a life. Now, another good, very simple survival prep or hack that we can use is prepping our signals to be ready at a moment's notice so we can throw them out there, but having the signal ready itself to be attached to some sort of surface, either a tree or the side of a wall, or staked to the ground. Now, what we can do is we have our VS17 panel right here. We can take bungee cords, place it in the middle. We can even grab a handful or 3 Chem Lights. These are IR Chem Lights to be seen under night vision. And we can use these to actually establish an LZ with the inverted Y.
Air assault.
And we can take these and throw them in our kit as well. roll this up, keeping one bungee or two bungees out. All we have to do is just roll it up, tighten it down, attaching it to itself. Notice we've done it to the top and to the bottom. We simply wrap these up. So we have a complete signal right here, especially during hours of limited visibility. We can still open this up, grab the chem lights out of them, stake them off using the inverted Y landing zone technique, or we can use the panel itself during daylight hours, or put out the chem lights if we're expecting to have this signal out after the sun goes down. But we have bungee cords on the outside holding everything together. We got the chem lights, extra bungee cords on the inside, so we can actually stake this entire signal out, have it ready, and all we need to do is just grab a couple of sticks from around the area, or stakes or anything else to attach this signal to, and put it up, and it's ready to go. All right, so speaking of signal, something that is very, very simple for us to do is take a chem light. We should have these as part of our kit anyway. It's just kind of a fire and forget weapon. And we can turn these into a very viable signal, or at least bright signal, to see and stand out in hours of limited visibility during nighttime, especially in an open area if we're trying to signal search and rescue. Now, all we have to do is simply take a piece of paracord, put it through the eyelet on our chem light, tie a stopper knot, wrap the excess around, secure that excess the best way possible. Now we can just pull this out, pull off the cordage, keep it attached, and then we have a way to spin this chem light, creating what is called a buzzsaw, and it is a very bright, obnoxious signal at nighttime that can be seen from a long ways out. Now, one of my favorite simple preparations that we can do before ever going to the field is installing the inline filter on our Camelback. What we can do with just a simple Camelback bladder, cut the hose about halfway up the bladder itself, and installed the inline filter attachments. These actually go together so we can continue drinking water without actually having the filter attached. And now what we do is just simply fill this up with good water, clean water, take it out to the field, drink it, and if we have to fill up from a dirty source, what we can do is simply take out our Camelback bladder, detach the inline filter attachments from one another, and then just simply attach our filter, creating that inline filter. Make sure it's tight, and then fill our Camelback up with dirty water, and now we can just straight drink from this Camelback without having to worry about getting sick. That dirty water will go through the filter, through our hose to the clean side, and we will be able to drink clean water quick, fast, and in a hurry. This is great, especially if we don't have the ability to boil or pasteurize water over a fire, or we don't have a metal container, or we don't have any chemical means of treating that water once it's in the Camelback, like water tablets or bleach or other chemicals. So this is a great prep to have ahead of time in the field, especially if we don't need it. We still have it available as a backup or emergency option to get some clean water and stay hydrated. One very simple preparation that we can make before going out to land navigate, whether we're hiking or moving from point to point, especially over uneven and rough terrain with no real discernible features or landmarks to really help us terrain associate, is simply attaching gutted 550 cord, the inside of the 550 cord, to our military protractor or even a civilian protractor. And this gives us the ability to find our bearing, distance, or direction, whichever direction we're going to travel. That string, placing it over our first point, moving to our second point, and then just simply reading the degrees around the protractor to give us that grid azimuth from point to point. And then we only have to subtract or add for declination, and then move out on a magnetic compass bearing. This technique is also great for improvisational means using a button compass. We just take out our button compass from our survival belt and then simply orient the protractor along with the compass. So north on the protractor is at the same time north on our button compass, and then just line up the string between our point that we're at and the point we want to travel to. Read the simple degree mark around that protractor, and that's the actual degree we need to travel. But this gives us an ability to use a button compass more accurately than if we had just had a simple button compass in our hands giving us cardinal directions. So we can use it in conjunction with our protractor, because if our protractor is oriented north along with our compass face, that means all the degrees in the protractor itself are also oriented in their proper direction. We line up the string and it gives us our actual azimuth to travel, making it 10 times more accurate than if we just had it in our hands using the basic cardinal directions. The simple preparation for any type of tubular nylon webbing is just inch width tubular nylon webbing, about 15 feet, great for a Swiss seat, as well as any other mountaineering tasks or climbing tasks. But a good prep is to have this in a coil so we can take it, attach it to our pack, or put it inside our pack very easily. So we have just a organized way to keep this webbing so it doesn't tangle up on itself and it's ready for us when we need it. All we do is grab the two ends of the webbing, ensure they're flat and we don't have any twists, pull it back to itself, and then simply find our two ends. We're just going to do a simple overhand knot. Just create that simple overhand knot, tying it together on those two ends. So now we have one piece that is tied together so we can find two ends and there's no twists in the webbing itself. From here, we're just going to go and act as if we're going to create another overhand knot. Like this time, we're not going to pull all of the excess through. We're just going to tighten this down. And then from here, all we do is just continuously grab the cordage through the eyelet we create, tighten it down a little bit, and then continuously grab and repeat this process to create our simple coil. Once we get to the end of our coil, we just pull that excess through now. We only got a couple inches excess. Grab our carabiner, put it through that bite we created that has become our excess at the top of our coil. And now we have a complete coil that won't come undone because we have the carabiner stopping that. But if we wanted to get this undone, all we would have to do, remove it from the carabiner, pull the excess through, and then simply pull that cordage or that tubular nylon webbing and it comes undone. Very simple prep to take this out into the field, have it looking good like it should, and then grab it at a moment's notice when we need to apply our Swiss seat or use it for whatever we need to, dragging a casualty or creating an improvised litter. But it's tight, compact, and won't come undone unless we pull the excess through that last loop, removing the carabiner, and then it will come apart very easily, ready for us to use. All right, next, I'm gonna show you two preps together. So part of the 10, this is gonna be one and then another. That first prep is simply attaching a tourniquet in a fast method to get it to where it's secure, but that we could rip it off our kit and actually apply it to ourselves if we had to. And that's just with rubber bands or retainer bands, because a jump master always uses proper nomenclature. But with our rubber bands or retainer bands, we can just create a simple lark's head by feeding the rubber bands around our molly webbing, and then just simply attach the top and bottom of our prepped tourniquet that is outside the wrapper and ready for use, and just attach it to our kit so we can actually grab it quickly, rip it off. It's secure in place. We could rip this off because those rubber bands are somewhat weak and we can tear them with just our hands. That way we have just a quick access tourniquet that is part of our kit that we can grab or somebody else can grab to apply to us, or we can apply to somebody else if we have multiple tourniquets, but we should be using our own. Another quick method that I picked up from a medic, if we don't have pouches inside our aid bag or we need to attach bandages like combat gauze or pressure dressing and be able to get to those quickly as well, a technique that we can do is, without perforating the sterile bag on the inside of the bandage wrapping, take a safety pin and then just attach the safety pin and push it through the tagged portion of our bandage, and then we just have it attached right here. It can sit down because we have a nice lip in our bag here, or we can just keep it closed inside of our aid bag. Same thing with our combat gauze that could go right on top. Safety pin from inside a cravat, close it up, attach this down. We could even have another rubber band over top of this if we wanted to, but we have now a way to keep this together somewhat, and we're lucky that we have kind of the lip at the bottom of the backpack here, keeping it tight next to our tourniquet. But imagine our aid bag is closed and these items are right on top, ready for us to grab at a moment's notice. So you see, it's very simple. We just grab, tear, and now we have that combat gauze that we can take, open, and apply. The same with our Israeli dressing. Tear, And now we have that Israeli dressing or pressure dressing that we can use to apply to the wound or cover the wound completely and then evacuate the casualty. Now, a final military prep or prep that we can do just in general is concealing escape items on our clothing or person or wherever. We could just have escape items ready. And so even in the seams of trousers, we can have simple escape items hidden, like what was a hair barrette, and now we have a simple shim for handcuffs. We have our ready-made shim here. All it does is go between the teeth and the ratchet of our handcuffs, and then we simply open those handcuffs with the shim and we're good to go. We can do the same thing with hairpins that work great for picking handcuffs. We simply hide those somewhere. We can turn them into simple picks. Check our cuffs to make sure they're not double locked. And we simply go through the eyelet. If it was double locked, we could defeat that and then simply rotate until the handcuff is loose or open. And then we escape, take the handcuffs with us, get rid of them in the trash or bury them or destroy them, and we're good to go. All right, so that's 10 very simple military preps. A lot of these things are somewhat glossed over or hand-waved in a lot of my videos, and these are just things that we do for preparation before we're going to a field exercise, going on a deployment, or going outside the wire, whatever we're doing. But a lot of them cross over into the civilian sector, even things like with the filter or prepping bandages. But I thought we'd go over this, just very simple preps that we can do and make our kit a little bit better, make it easier for us, and react a little faster, as well as survive if we're out for an extended period of time. We already have a lot of these things built, ready to go, to make it that much easier for us. So I hope you liked this video. If you did like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment in the comment section. I really appreciate your feedback. I want to thank you guys for everything you do for me, for this channel, for your likes, your views, your subscriptions, your comments, your feedback, and your shares. And I will be back with another video as soon as I can, guys. Thanks.